Bear down, Chicago Bears. Rookie mini camp is over. We've got some updates. We've got a whole bunch going on in the background. If you like this type of content, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe button, bell to be notified of content, and let's kick this off with first. And this is the troubling news coming out of training camp, and that is injury to Rome Dunze dealing with a hamstring tightness during the rookie mini camp. Now, it doesn't appear that this is going to be a long-term issue or a long-term problem. However, it should be noted that Justin Jefferson, with the same injury, ended up sitting out 7 games for the Minnesota Vikings last season before coming back and not looking quite the same. So they're going to rest Roma Dunze to make sure that he is as ready as can possibly be. Now, remember, 7 games is basically 2 months, and we've got 2 months at least until the start of the season. So I don't think that anybody is really too concerned about Roma Dunze at this point, but it should be noted that he is going through an injury. He did miss the second day of the rookie mini camp, which was not a great sign. However, it's okay. It's going to be fine. And shout out to Roma Dunze. A lot of people super excited about this year. And, in fact, when we get through some of this stuff, we're going to find out that, this is the most improved team in the league, according to many different NFL insiders, looking at mentality, mental makeup, physicality, the ability to make plays. There's a lot of playmakers that have joined the Bears just recently. A lot of great football players. So I think that, again, I'm telling you 13 wins, and I'm not backing down from that. I'm going to stick with it. In fact, on Wednesday, we should see the schedule. I believe it's going to be announced live on ESPN. It'll be downloadable, and the Chicago Bears are going to share it. I want to say 7 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday night. So can't wait to see what the lineup looks like. Again, the only thing that we do know is that the Hall of Fame game, the very first game of the season, is the Baltimore Ravens and the Green Bay Packers in Ohio. I think it's in Canton. And since that's going to be the first game, that means that we won't be playing the Green Bay Packers in the first game of the season, which, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I think that it's important to get that first win out of the way, right away to create a trend. And the toughest team, in my opinion, that we're going to be facing in the year 2024 is going to be Green Bay. So giving yourself an opportunity to kind of work on your team, get the early jitters out, if you will, that rookie nervousness that might be there for a few of these guys, to get that out of the way early so that they're prepared. They take that deep breath, they get focused, they get locked in on Green Bay. I think that really works out to the best. So we'll see what that lineup is on May the 15th. Now, moving on, the rookies roar. And by the way, look at this roster. From left to right, you see Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, Austin Booker, Kieran Emagaje, Torrey Taylor, and Ryan Poles. And one of the things that we were pointing out, if you just account for this for a second here, is size, right? Kieran Emagaje, obviously the biggest guy in this, but look how big Austin Booker looks next to Kieran Emagaje. I got a feeling that this guy's a little bit more NFL ready than what those original statistics kind of showed. Now, is he an every down player? Probably not at this point, but I would think that at some point very soon, we're going to start to see this guy making some real noise for the Chicago Bears. And as we go through just rookie mini camp, you're going through the motions, you're getting familiarized with the concept, you're not getting familiarized with the actual play, the actual toughness needed to succeed in the NFL. You're just getting a feel for what it looks like. By the way, wearing the Jay Cutler today, if you guys didn't notice, I don't have a cigarette to smoke because I don't smoke, but and there's some with smoking Jays or something like that. So I got my Jay Cutler on for the day. So, but Austin Booker certainly looks the part right there in the middle with Kieran. So what do you guys think? I mean, I feel like this is I feel like he's a big dude, and that we might be this might be something that works out for the best. One of the things that we pointed out originally was he was considered a slightly undersized and that he would have to grow into it. but it kind of looks to me like he's growing as we speak. He looks pretty big compared to all of these other guys. So is it big enough to be a successful defensive end in the NFL? Probably not. He probably needs to add about 30 or 40 pounds to be the best that he can be. But let's see how he does with speed rushing first. Let's see if he can keep up with the speed rush portion of it. And along with this, let's talk about this mini camp. This rookie mini camp was a great opportunity for everybody to get an idea of what's going on. And there are plenty of videos online right now showing you what Caleb Williams can do, just kind of lacing the ball in, throwing bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb to wide receivers. The only drop, by the way, was a rookie tight end dropping the ball. Otherwise, it was a fantastic showcase for him. Now, I was not as enamored as some other people were with what was going on the field for that. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen here. You can see, this is making good throws, just making solid throw after throw after throw. However, the way I look at this is somebody told me, well, he just keeps throwing it right on the dime. Well, that one hit the numbers. That one's not close to the numbers. I don't think it's as accurate as, what people were originally kind of talking about. Like, again, I don't think that this is completely like throwing it in something accurate. However, he's getting the ball up. He's given his receivers a chance to make the play. For the most part, they seem to be well in stride. Again, look at this. We're slowing down a little bit and adjusting for it. Would probably like to see a little more activity, but we're not going to see that in rookie camp, right? Wasn't as great. It wasn't as great as some of these people were originally saying, but it was good. So the fact that it was good is going to be enough for me right now. And by the way, he's already been named QB1. So he's already been named QB1. So that's pretty cool. So super excited to see where this goes. When rookie tackle Kiran Emagaji arrives at Hallis Hall, Caleb Williams has already arrived and is working to master whatever is on his plate. That work doesn't stop from the time Williams wakes up until the time he goes to bed. The 2022 Heisman Trophy winner has been texting quarterback coach Kerry Joseph late at night, asking for more details about why the Bears are doing things on certain play. He's one of those guys who wants to know why, Kerry Joseph said of Williams at the Bears rookie minicamp wrapper on Saturday. You put something in, you put in a play, you talk about it, you give him the progressions, whether it's a run or pass. Like, he wants to know why. Last night, probably around 10:30 or 11 o'clock, he texted me, hey, why are we doing this here? Why are we blocking it like that? Isn't that this guy? Isn't that his guy to block? He just wants to know. He wants to know those answers. Guys, that's the best thing that you can hear when you're talking about your quarterback, is that this quarterback wants to know, why am I doing this in this situation? What does it look like for me? Once Caleb Williams learns this system, once he's got this down, they're going to allow him to check out, something that Luke Getsy said that Justin Fields could do, but that Justin Fields never really did. They're going to allow him to check out, and he can become a coach on the field, is what Kerry Joseph called him. The Bears have crafted an intricate developmental plan for the new franchise quarterback. General Manager Ryan Poles and head coach Matt Eberflus know that fate swung in their favor to land Williams, and they plan to do everything possible to make sure he has a chance to be a star quarterback. That work started with Williams stepping his foot into Hallis Hall. Williams and his personal quarterback coach, Will Hewlett, and in fact, something that Caleb Williams said in his interview was, he was asking about plays and he was asking about stuff. And then when he got some of the playbook information from the Bears prior to the draft, he gave it to his personal quarterback coach, and they started working on that, at least in the footwork and the cadences and stuff like that, not the actual plays. You can't just give up the plays, I think. That early work is already paying dividends as the Bears' grand developmental plan for Williams launched this weekend. Will did a great job with him of prepping him for what we're about to do now. Coming into this mini camp, he was light years ahead of the information that he already had. There isn't much to draw from two-day minicamp in which Williams was on the field with mostly rookie tryouts, but his attention to detail was evident in the two practices. Williams was accurate and precise in both practices. He missed a few throws, and there were a couple of drops, but each time a rep was unsuccessful, he would link up with the intended receiver, be it a first-round pick Rome Odunze or an undrafted free agent Brendan Bates, talk through the rep, and then ask to run it again to get it right. That's part of Williams' DNA. He's a perfectionist who wants to set the tone for the organization. He wants his fellow rookies to see him as a resource as they lay the foundation for the 2024 season. Getting to a point where there's certain things I can teach some of the guys that maybe it's John Jackson, by the way, signed by the Bears, or Rome, that they're not understanding that I may understand. So being able to teach is always big because it's always another way for you to learn. Again, John Jackson III is now a Chicago Bear. Was announced, by the way, 3 minutes before we went live. There was a list of 6 players that they've signed, and we're going to announce each one of those names in just a few moments. Also, shows you how much that you know. And so I would take those and then just being around these guys, enjoying the time together, getting on the field, executing and being even keeled throughout the whole thing, because I'm going to make mistakes and I don't really like mistakes and messing up. I know there's a bunch of guys that are going to be in the same position as me. Being in that position and being even keeled and being in control, cool, calm, and collected not only helps me, but also the other guys on the field. Kerry Joseph and passing game coordinator Thomas Brown will handle the daily details with Williams, while offensive coordinator Shane Waldron helps the quarterback with the 3,000-foot view and works to tailor the Bears' offense to Williams' strength. I think for me, the thing we're pouring into him right now is just understanding of the big picture of the game and all the intricacies and the nuances of, first of all, being between college and the NFL and being able to start with that ground floor approach and building that repertoire of his as we're going, said Shane Waldron on Saturday. For me, by the way, if you watch that Shane Waldron interview, boy, he's a tough, he talks a lot and doesn't say much, but he certainly likes to be there. For me, also being able to lean on Kerry Joseph and the rest of the offensive staff, this is always a collaborative effort, and it's going to take us all to help him along the way. Everyone has great individual strength that they can bring to the table. So for me, it's helping with the big picture of the game, understanding the offense, understanding situational football, and then Kerry being a great technician and making sure we're always working on the fundamentals and that belief in the basic, and then Thomas with the passing game and everything he can bring there and his prior experience to lean on. So, I really think this team is set for success. And shout out to Shane Waldron, who in his interview also said that he has a big plan to use all of the targets. Now, remember, not 2 weeks ago, DJ Moore was wondering how everybody was going to get involved in the offense. Of course, that's not his role. His role is just catch the ball when it's thrown to him. But, having more understanding of how this offense is going to work will allow him to be even more successful. So how do they keep everyone satisfied with only one football on the field per play? Offensive coordinator Shane Waldron has 3 years of experience at his job and already has a similar situation in terms of target. So he's a pretty good idea of how all this can work. In the NFL, it's all about the matchups, and the Bears have enough players now to create problems this way for opposing defenses with Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, and Gerald Everett. I spoke with Rome Odunze about having late hands recently, and Rome doesn't put his hands up until the last moment, by the way. So just so you guys understand, and I think that everybody does have an understanding, like, why does Rome not put his hands up to catch the ball? Well, if you put your hands out to make a play, if you're trying to catch the ball and you're putting your hands out, you're giving the signal to the cornerback that it's time for the cornerback to make his move. And that gives the cornerback a better opportunity to break up each pass, maybe even get an interception. So if Roma is just running, and he's not looking for the ball until very late and putting his hands out at the last second in order to catch the ball, then he's not giving the cornerback an opportunity to break into that play and make that interruption, if you will. So the fact that he's doing that is a great thing for this offense. But back to the matter. I think for us on offense, we want to be able to get multiple on offense. And so with the addition of the wide receivers, having 3 wide receivers, 2 great established vets, we've got other young guys that are up and coming on the roster as well. mindful not to forget Tyler Scott and Velus Jones Jr. It just allows us to continue to be multiple, allows us to, on a week-by-week basis, see what might be a matchup advantage or something that we can look to lean heavier towards. And with Cole and Gerald and the other tight end and KB at fullback, Kerry Blasingame, we got a lot of different pieces that we can utilize. It was also interesting that he pointed out Blasingame because in Seattle, he did not have a fullback on the roster. They had Cullen Gillespie for 6 games in 2022. He was a college linebacker and fullback, but he never played a snap of offense in Seattle, has played almost all special teams in the NFL, and was listed as a running back and not a fullback on the Seattle roster. But he was not there last season. With Seattle, Waldron had to find a balance between getting the ball to DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, as well as 3 tight ends, while also blending the running game. With the Bears, he's going to need to balance the receiving weapons with a running game that was first and second the last 2 years. Waldron called the spring a time of learning, not just for players as they take the offensive system, but also for himself as he looks at the hands he's been dealt. Obviously, things can change by the start of training camp. For us right now, this is the time of year where we're trying to figure out how is everyone going to carve out their individual role for the 2024 offense. The Bears are trying to weigh where Caleb Williams is at on a daily basis with their offensive understanding, and that's going to be the whole process. What are guys good at? What can they handle? Said Matt Eberflus. That's the process for everybody on the roster, the tryout guys, everybody. We're going to figure out what they can do and what they are good at. And while we're on the topic, let's point out that a bunch of assholes at the Pro Football Focus and at all these different places that do fantasy football draft and rankings are down ranking currently DJ Moore, saying that he is not going to be as valuable a player this year as he was last year because he's got so much more talent around him on this team. And speaking of talent on the team, Tommy Sweeney was just signed. Now, I was starting off with telling you that Tommy Sweeney, not a rookie, but this is a veteran from the Buffalo Bills, had been signed. And as I'm doing that, Freddie Swain also gets signed. So instead of this, we're going to go over all of the roster moves that the Chicago Bears have made over the last little while because Deshaun Mallory was signed. So, we actually have a really nice couple of signings here. Freddie Swain appeared in 37 games with 10 starts for the Seahawks, Broncos, and Dolphins, caught 42 passes for 576 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was selected in the 6th round of the 2020 draft out of Florida, so it's his 4th year in the league. Played in all 33 games his first 2 seasons with the Seahawks, catching 38 passes for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns after being waived by Seattle as part of the final cuts in 2022. He appeared in 3 games with the Broncos and 1 with the Dolphins. Now, obviously, this is not a go-to guy that the Bears are going to be looking at, but he appears to be a decent spot relief. He'll give you a couple of receptions over the course of the year, possibly a little upgrade over somebody like a Colin Johnson, somebody who's just, really hasn't been able to crack that starting lineup and continues to play on the practice squad, not really getting the reps. And in addition, we should recognize that Tyler Scott probably has that second-year upgrade, but Velus Jones already had that, was not very good last year, and we may be looking to push him out of the lineup with a little bit of competition. This guy clocks in at 6 foot, 199 pounds. Then we have Tommy Sweeney, 6'5", 255 pounds. Will he get some playing time behind Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett? Maybe, but he had a medical event that prohibited him from playing last year. He collapsed during training camp. So he was selected by the Bills in the 7th round of the 2019 draft, played in 24 games, caught 18 passes, 165 yards, and 1 touchdown, sat out the 2020 season after developing myocarditis as a result of having COVID-19, signed with the Giants in 23, but was placed on the reserve non-football injury list after collapsing during a training camp practice as a result of a medical event. So we'll see if he even makes the roster, but if he's healthy, this might be a good talent. Now, of course, it's 4 or 5 years into the league. He hasn't really played that much. It is possible that he's cooked. So he's at least had an opportunity to make the roster. They're giving him a shot, and we'll see what happens. So maybe he will, maybe he won't. Now, in rookies, they've signed John Jackson, which is Caleb Williams' best friend. So he appeared in 41 games the past 4 seasons at USC and Nevada, catching 40 passes for 309 yards. Not going to catch a whole lot of balls. The bulk of his production in college came at Nevada, where he caught 35 passes for 267 yards. His father, John Jackson, was a receiver who appeared in 5 games with the Bears in '96 after playing 5 years of minor league baseball. Jackson making the roster. Caleb Williams' best friend is here. We'll see whether or not he has an opportunity to make that roster. Should be noted that in 41 games, he only had 5 passes for about 40 yards caught from Caleb Williams to him. So even though they're best friends, he's not very active in their offense. So we'll see what happens. Leon Jones, cornerback, 6'1", 195, appeared in 32 games. Probably don't need a cornerback, but for the preseason roster, it would be this seems like a pretty good signing early on. 32 games with 19 starts at Arkansas State, 63 tackles, 1 interception, 21 pass breaks up. Actually pretty good stats. Last year made a career high 8 starts, transferred to Arkansas State after playing 2 seasons at Mississippi Gulf Coast. Again, this is a guy going from Division II to Division I, skipping Division I, going straight to the NFL. This is going to be the same thing as Tyson Bagent. This guy might have a little bit of talent, but he is not going to be ready for the NFL yet. So developmental, if anything, kind of guy. And he's going to be sitting behind 2 of the best right now in Tyreek Stevenson and Jalen Johnson. And to be fair, I think that our cornerbacks are probably the deepest cornerbacks in the league with Terrell Johnson, Kyler Gordon. Like, we really have a deep cornerback room. So if this guy gets an opportunity, we'll see how he does. Deshaun Mallory, defensive tackle, 6'1", 275. And this guy played his last 4 seasons at Michigan State and then Arizona State. He appeared in 31 games, 91 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and 2 fumble recoveries. Most productive year was 2023 at Arizona State, 48 tackles, 2 sacks, 10 tackles for loss in 12 games. And he grew up in the Chicago area, graduating from Bolingbrook High School. So this is a local kid. Potentially, he's made the roster, so we'll see whether this goes through training camp. And if it is, maybe this is the relief guy that we need to spell a very thin rotation right now at defensive tackle. So then you have Paul Moala, linebacker, 6', 229, appeared in 48 games with 23 starts at Notre Dame, Idaho, and then Georgia Tech. 60 tackles, 2 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions in 12 games at Idaho, and 65 tackles, 4 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and 3 forced fumbles last season at Georgia Tech. These are stats. You know, this guy actually registers. At the linebacker position, you might want just a little bit more, but he's got 6 sacks over 2 seasons. He's got 18 tackles for loss, and he's got 4 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and 125 tackles over 2 years. That's not bad for, I mean, again, this is an undrafted free agent signing. So shout out, this might be a really, really good. And by the way, while we're here, we're going to take a quick look and you can see some of the pictures. Caleb Williams, RJ Mobley, Rich Miller, you got Shane Waldron and Caleb Williams, Austin Booker. Look how much bigger Austin Booker looks. And of course, this is, it's kind of zoomed in on him, but look how much bigger he looks than some of these other guys out here. And this is just rookie mini camp. He's not playing with the big guys yet, but Russell Dandy, you got Travion Blaylock, by a Hyundai. I don't know why is Chicago sponsored by Hyundai? I don't get that one, by the way. I'm not anti-American or super pro-American, but seems kind of weird to me. Anyway, defensive lineoff Keith Randolph Jr. This is one of those guys that we were looking for. This guy from Illinois that we were looking to get a drink of water, if you will. Roma Dunze. You got Jennifer King. We've got Torrey Taylor, Legatron, if you will, or it was called something about down under, the leg from whatever. We got another Roma Dunze. We've got Torrey Taylor and Matt Eberflus. Peter LeBlanc, wide receiver. RJ Mobley. We've got Caleb. We've got Theo Benedette. We've got linebacker Carl Jones Jr., John Jackson, Marcus Rogers. We've got Austin Reed, the undrafted free agent at quarterback. And yeah, I mean, I know it's because they gave him money, but why didn't they get Chevy? Or, you know what I mean? Like, why is no one talking about Caleb Williams not being able to throw the ball downfield? And he's also thrown 3 interceptions in rookie minicamp because he's just throwing the ball up. And I don't think you read too much into it. And I think you're kind of making up some things to be annoyed about because you don't like him. But I mean, nobody but you is talking about it because it's not real. I think there's nothing to be concerned about at this point. Again, Caleb Williams, Brendan Bates, Matt Eberflus, and Ryan Poles. You got Torrey Taylor in black and white because they don't come in color in Australia. Roma Dunze again. You got John Jackson again. Thomas Brown, passing game coordinator by a Hyundai. Perry Nickerson. Travion Blaylock, you got Caleb Williams, Shelton Zion. That's the guy that dropped the ball. That was one of the drop passes. Peter LeBlanc again, Freddie Swain. Freddie Swain did get signed. Austin Booker. And again, Austin Booker amongst the rest of these guys looks really, really big. Jamari Chroma. We got Torrey Taylor, Caleb Williams. We've got TD Yayo Durajai. I don't know how to say that right. I'm probably destroying that. We got Austin Booker, Caleb Williams, Jamari Chroma, Keith Randolph Jr., Austin Booker, John Jackson. I don't know what it means, by the way, that we didn't see that Keith Randolph Jr. got signed on that list. So I'm not sure what that means at all yet. But let's get into the Bears Twitter and talk about what we've got going on here. And boom. You got John Jackson and Caleb Williams hanging out together at USC. We've got, after rookie minicamp, Chicago Bears coach Kerry Joseph has praise for Williams. And he says, I can tell you this here. For me, to see where he's at right now, it's impressive. And to see his physical traits, it's unbelievable. So I think that people are super happy. I think people like what they're seeing out of Caleb, the people that matter. If you're a fan and you don't see it yet, that's okay, because you're looking for, I don't know what you're looking for. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is that you're looking for, but whatever it is, you're not looking for the right thing. If you're finding faults, trust me, there's a whole coaching staff finding every fault in everything. So I don't think that you're looking at a real problem. You're only finding them if you're looking for them. Otherwise, they seem to be really excited with what they're seeing. I don't know why you're not. Could it be Justin Fields syndrome, which I think is going to be a medical thing here in Chicago pretty soon, especially if this team hits the ground running. Also, you had this from Kayla from Roma Dunze. Says it's real effortless for him. He could throw the ball from any angle, body position, anywhere on the field to any spot. This is what we're looking for in our quarterback. Also, Pro Football Focus, Sam and Steve here says that the Chicago Bears are the most improved team in the NFL heading into the 2024 season. So if you haven't, go check out the NFL podcast and check out Pro Football Focus. Then you got the This Is the Squad right here. Again, Austin Booker looking the part already. Big time guy. Make sure you hit the like button, by the way. We do have 50 people in here. We only have 10 likes. So please, if you will, doesn't cost you anything to hit that like button. Help me out. Push me up in the algorithm. Day 2 here, still dropping dimes, not interceptions here. Again, I don't think that it's as I don't think that he's nailing it in the same position every time. He is just kind of throwing the ball to the receivers. But if you watch, he's getting the ball and then he's turning his head and looking immediately and making the throw. So you could account for the fact that it looks like he's ready to learn, ready to get better, ready to work on some things. Putting the ball, look, he's putting the ball where these guys can catch it. He's not giving them balls they cannot catch. So that should be noted as well. I think this is the guy that drops it right here. Nope. 88. Whoever 88 was, he was the one that made the big drop on the first day of training camp. So they're not making the drops on the second day. And there's no defense here, by the way. So there's no interceptions for a defense. So, and then in the final thing here, God damn it, Lucas Patrick has been signed to the New Orleans Saints. So started 54 games for the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears, and we'll see. Shout out to Lucas Patrick for getting signed by another team. This and yeah, I think Hail Mary Recording says that the team looks competitive on paper, and Crimson, I think we all agree. We're tired of seeing it on paper. We're ready to see it on Sunday. And look, I'm not telling you that we're in a different level. I'm telling you that you know what? Yes, I am. I'm telling you that this was a team that started 0-4, that was not ready to compete at the beginning of this season. A mistake that I don't think that they intend to make again this year. I think this team will be ready to hit the ground running. The leadership on this team feels different. Okay. The players feel different. And when the players feel different, then that's hopefully a positive thing. Now, if that's the case, then after those first 4 games, we were 7-16. So if you could have even split those first 2 games, and I don't know, by the way, we might have been destined to lose 3 of those first 4, by the way. It felt good going into Green Bay at the beginning of the season. And, I want to say that we started off with a touchdown or field goal, we were up, and then, the wheels fell off. And, it became frustrating, right? It became frustrating. And Crimson is right here. The reason that this is all happening is probably because of Matt Eberflus' beard. So in case anybody's wondering, yes, it is magical. It is a magical beard. It's a good looking magical beard, by the way. But the point is, this team was not ready to compete. And when they got ready to compete, they became at least a 500 team. Now, the question from that is the team better? And, look, we've looked at the defensive roster forever. We've looked at the offensive roster forever. We can see the difference and the enormous leveling up that this team has done. Now, did they level up the defense? Not exactly. I think by virtue of working together for a longer period of time, for new players coming in and developing in their second year, aside from Justin Jones and Eddie Jackson, we pretty much maintained the same roster. And I think that this team was really coming along. So I think that they make a step up as a defensive team. And look, we're not going to be maybe the number 1 rushing. However, we're also, I don't think, going to be the number 25 defense versus the pass this year. So I feel like this team is a little bit more ready to compete. And then I saw an interview the other day, and it was a Tom Brady interview. And one of the things that he said was he thinks that the NFL today is just kind of BS, and that, it used to be that if you had an elite defense, like Super Bowls are won with defense, right? Well, that's not the case anymore because you put too much protection on every player. You've taken away the hard hitting aspect in many ways of the NFL. And by the way, to the benefit of the NFL, I'm not trying to shit on the NFL in any way by saying this, but they've taken a step towards a different type of game, and that different type of game is weighted towards the NFL offense. This NFL offense that we have compared to last year, is Caleb Williams an upgrade over Justin Fields? I don't know that. I feel good when I watch him go through his motions. I feel good when I see how he's embracing the team and how he's embracing the city. But you know what? Justin Fields did all that. There's nothing different here. Is he better? I think so, but I'm not sure. Here's what I know. I know that Justin Fields was the slowest guy in the NFL to process reads and to process downfield movement. And I know that he did not throw his receivers open with consistency, that he threw to open receivers. And that's different. Caleb Williams, I think, brings a little bit more dynamic throwing in that regard and a little bit quicker decision making. And if I'm right about that, then the Bears are a better team just by the virtue of, look, if Caleb Williams is just Justin Fields with a little bit of a quicker timing, then everything about this team is different and everything is better. Now you take that and you replace Darnell Mooney, who underperformed, with Keenan Allen, who is probably Hall of Fame level, then you're a better team. Now you replace Tyler Scott, who was an untested rookie, with Roma Dunze, also an untested rookie, but a rookie with phenomenal stats and considered by some to be on par with generational talents in this draft, and you're a better team. You get rid of Mercedes Lewis, you lose a little bit of blocking, but you bring in Gerald Everett, also a good blocker, but a great pass receiver, and you are a better team. And now you have a problem with Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson, with Khalil Herbert being the run-first kind of guy, and Roschon Johnson being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. And you bring in DeAndre Swift, who had 1,100 yards rushing last year, and then you add him in as a potential pass receiver as well, caught 49 passes. Then you now have you've changed the dynamic of this team dramatically. Now, take it another step further, and you've removed Lucas Patrick and Dan Feeney, and you've added Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton, two very capable centers to get used to. So this is a very vastly different team. Now, the question is going to be one of the offensive coordinator. Getsy was slow at processing and in-game adjustments, which is key to winning. And first of all, let us say, I'm going to defend Luke Getsy again for some stupid reason. Look, we had a fantastic script the first 15 plays of every game. We looked great. And then after that, we fell apart, right? So I would like to think that Shane Waldron, Kerry Joseph, Thomas Brown is a significant upgrade of the offensive coaching staff. And by the way, Luke Getsy might have a fantastic career with the Raiders. He might end up being a head coach somewhere. He just didn't work out here. He didn't have the tools around him to do what he wanted to do, and he was unable to adapt to what needed to be done here. So, he's got the blame. In my eyes, he is mostly to blame for why Chicago didn't have enough in the tank, and Justin Fields didn't help him, not enough. So I do think that this is an upgrade. And then remember, we didn't have a defensive coordinator because that dude got fired for whatever he did, wink, wink, along with the running backs coach. They both got fired over something that we still don't know. So NFL head coaches or NFL coordinators getting fired, we have no idea what's going on with it. Ooh, a little bit weird there. Little bit weird, okay? However, we've got a guy who was a defensive line coach in Eric Washington, and I think that he makes this team a little bit better. And McFack says, LOL, scripts don't win games. Defensive coordinators adjust to scripts. Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, you're right in the context of it doesn't win games, but it does get you a lead in games, and then it becomes part of the defense to slow down the offense of the opposing team. And if that happens, then when you finish your script off, you should have 2 touchdowns. You should be able to score 2 touchdowns if you're doing a great job in your scripting. So it actually does win games if you can put up between 10 and 14 points every single time, and then you just play good football the rest of the game, and you score 2 more touchdowns. 2 more touchdowns, and you're a legendary football team. That's all it takes in this league. And then have a defense that holds people under 20 points a game. If you can do that, or around 22 points a game, if you can do that, then you're going to win a lot of football games. We just didn't have all of the pieces in place. However, it could have been. Look, there's a lot of blame to go around. Could have been way better. So anyway, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We got more coming, but that's going to be for tomorrow. In the meantime, happy Mother's Day, day after Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And if you didn't, make sure that you call your mother today and tell her, oops, my bad, I missed it. I don't think anybody would. I don't think anybody did. But if you did, man, get your shit together. Anyway, you guys have a good day. Bear down. We got the Cutler jersey on today. So we're just going to rock this all day long. I'm going to get a fake cigarette. I'm going to put it in my mouth. Just go walk around with a fake cigarette all day. And then also, as the French say, fuck Green Bay. Fuck those guys. Anyway, you guys bear down. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you again